All right, it's official. We are recording, we are live. Welcome to Ezer Co's launch party for your coaching group starting in March. Cheers, everybody. So excited about this hour that we get to spend together. Most of you have your favorite beverages. If you don't, you can still sneak away and grab your favorite beverage because nothing is better than being cozy and well hydrated. I am literally Zooming you all from my bed, which is where I've done more Zooms in the last 2 years that I could possibly count. I just bring everybody into like the most intimate space in my house because it's also one of the quietest spaces in my house. The rest of my house is crawling with humans. And this is the place that I can focus and stay present with you all the most. So welcome to my bed in my bedroom with my LaCroix. We are going to just have the best hour together as we share a little bit more about the coaching groups that many of you have signed up for. For those who are curious about coaching groups and aren't quite sure if this is the right thing, this hour is going to clarify for you whether or not this is what you want to say yes to. I believe that it is, but we want to show you what exactly you will experience in the next 6 months in our coaching group. So I'm going to give you one kind of big idea as a guideline for engagement as we walk through this time together, because this hour is going to fly by. We are already 6 minutes in, and I am committed to ending on time. So I want to give you this one big idea for how you can best engage in this hour. And here it is. Participation equals value. Okay. Participation equals value. This is true in your coaching group as a whole, but it is also true for tonight. For you to get the most out of our time that we spend together tonight and in your coaching group, I want to invite you to participate in a couple of ways, maybe a few. First is to give as best you can your undivided attention. You are worth it. Your time is worth it. You've already made the effort to show up here tonight and to be present with your favorite beverage in a cozy spot. And so give your undivided attention and focus so that you can really wrap your head and your heart around what is available to you in the next 6 months. So that also looks like closing down any distractions. So if you've got other tabs open on your computer, if you've got the TV on in the background, if you've got your phone that's sitting next to you that's buzzing, just turn it off, turn it upside down as best you can, minimize those distractions so that you can focus on this time. Next way for you to participate really well is to participate in the chat. So I already see on my chat, there's 10 comments that I haven't read, which is fantastic. Again, Stephanie is going to kind of manage that. Our coaches are here tonight and they are going to interact with you as well. So engage with each other in that space. Since you're not going to have the mute button off, we want for you to be able to experience some of the magic of coaching groups, which is in the sisterhood. It really is in the connection that you have with one another. That all of the beauty happens. And so engage there. Last way you can participate is I want to encourage you as we're sharing about these next 6 months to ask that question. So whatever that question is, kind of like the big thing that might feel a little uncomfortable or stupid or something that you think like they probably already answered that on the website or in an email, go ahead and drop that in the chat or save it for the end. We want you to ask that question. Nothing is off limits. We want to be fully transparent with you. And we want for you to feel like everything is answered for you so that you have nothing holding you back from a very clear yes or no to participate. Okay. So that is how you can participate. And that will give you the greatest amount of value in the time that we have together tonight. So as we begin together in kind of sharing about what these coaching groups are like and to really launch this whole thing well, I'm actually going to lead you all in a centering exercise. This is something that we do in every single month of our coaching groups because I mean, it's 5 o'clock here. You know, I have been awake for 11 hours and there have been approximately 1 million decisions that I have made and 1 trillion things that I have done and a couple of dozen that are still undone for the day, right? Like there's a lot that happens in a given day. And as we are all now almost halfway through the week, like it just builds, right? And so we recognize that there is a need to center ourselves, to bring ourselves back in together, to really be present. So as I lead you in this, I want to invite you to first close your eyes. Put everything down. Close your eyes. And then I want you to place one hand over your heart, the other hand on your belly. And it almost feels like a hug, like you're holding yourself. And now I want you to take a couple of really deep breaths. First, breathe in through your nose and hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out slowly, 4 seconds. Hold it. Breathe in again, 4 seconds. Hold it. And breathe out, 4 seconds. Hold it. Keep your eyes closed until I ask you to open them again, and continue to hold your hand over your heart and on your belly. And in this centering exercise, I want to ask for you to explore for a minute what is not working right now in your life or in your leadership. What is not working for you? Is it your pace, your commitments, your relationships, something in your relationship with God, in your body? Something about the way that your mind races, or you bounce from thing to thing to thing without real engagement in those things. What's not working for you? Be as specific as you possibly can about what's not working. Now pay attention to how your body is feeling as you think about that. What's one feeling that you have about what's not working for you? What's the dominant thought that you have around that idea? What's it cost you? Physically, relationally, financially, or spiritually? And as you feel it, I want you to actually feel the despair, to feel the weight, to feel the suck of it all. Soren Kierkegaard says that people find a level of despair that they can tolerate, and they call it happiness. But I do not believe that you were created to tolerate your life or to continue with what is not working for you. I believe that you were created for life in all of its fullness, that you were created for wholeness, that you were created for something beyond your wildest imagination. So keeping your eyes closed, your hands over your heart and over your belly. Now I want you to imagine if what's not working for you could change. And in 6 months, what could be different? On August 15th, 2022, imagine what would be different. Imagine who you would be. Imagine what you would be doing differently. Imagine what you would have in your life, your relationships, your leadership, your soul, your character. What would you have that's different? Now, as best you can, articulate that internally, make a statement, make a declaration of what could be possible for yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I don't know how that exercise was for you, but even leading you through it, stuff came up for me about what I am tolerating in my own life, what is possible in my own life and leadership 6 months down the road. And in some ways, 6 months feels like an eternity, especially after the last couple of years. It's like, how do you even look that far ahead? But then another way, it produces some hope within me, and it produces some vision, and it gives me something to look forward to. And so I don't know what came up for you in that experience, but we do want to invite you to add it to the chat. Some of you have already registered for being a part of this coaching group. You've already connected with one of these coaches. You've already said, yes, there's something that was internal that you were responding to. And when you signed up in that registration link. So I'm wondering, if you already registered, why did you sign up? It's probably connected to what we just experienced together. But if you're still curious about our coaching groups, and if you're still wondering if this is the right thing, I would love to also know, why are you considering this? What came up for you in that centering exercise that you want to pay attention to differently over the next 6 months than you have previously? Maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe you're ready to get out of this pandemic funk. Maybe you've got a goal that you want to achieve. Maybe you've felt really isolated over the last year or two, and you need a sisterhood that's going to help you grow and kind of come back into yourself again. Maybe you're feeling sick and tired of being here, like just this place right now. And there's something else that is needing to be called out of you again. Maybe you're ready to invest in yourself in some new ways, or in ways that you never have before. And so you are curious about what that could look like. Maybe you just simply want to go to the next level, and you don't even know what that next level looks like, but it's in you, and you're ready for it, and that you are going to do the work to get there. So, add it to the chat. Why is it that you said yes? Or why is it that you're curious? All of the above. Next level, Jackie. There's more. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Better results. If it takes you a hot minute to kind of formulate your thoughts, no worries. You can still add it as we go through it, but we want to be able to capture that. And it's good for you to be able to articulate it, to be able to acknowledge, what is it that's within you that is, calling you forward, that's calling you out, to whatever that next level is, or whatever that next place is in your own transformation journey. But I'm really excited for the rest of our time together to kind of take you behind the curtain of our coaching groups and share what you will experience in the next 6 months when you say yes, and when you start on March 8th, 3 weeks from today, y'all. We are starting 3 weeks from today. So as we go through the rest of our time, again, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. Stephanie is going to capture those for us, and I will answer them at the end. Another important reason to stick around for the end is that for those of you who have said yes to coaching groups already, I'm going to share how you can get connected to this community, our community now, and really start engaging and prepare yourself beyond tonight over the next few weeks before we officially get started in 3 weeks. So I will share that at the very end of tonight. So first question I want to answer is, why do coaching groups work? Why is it that we have thrown everything into a coaching group experience for women? Personally, it is because I have been transformed in my own life and leadership by coaching. It started for me 15, almost 20 years ago. I had a coach by the name of Dr. Jack Gruppel, and he literally changed the trajectory of my life. I'm fairly certain that if I would have continued on that trajectory, I probably would be divorced. I'd probably have burnt out my life. I probably would have like just totally done a bunch of things that would not have been good for my life or my leadership. But Jack, in the way that he coached me, particularly around the last dimension of our own wholeness journey in renewal, it changed the trajectory of my life. And then 9 or 10 years ago, I reinstituted another coaching relationship with my current coach and business partner, Hendrik Coetzee. And it, again, changed a trajectory of my life. So I have seen how it works for myself. I still receive coaching. I practice what I preach, y'all. Like I've got a couple of folks that I literally pay dollars to invest in my own life and in my leadership, because I know what is possible when you have someone that stands with you in your dreams and for the person that you are supposed to become. So it started back then, but I have been professionally doing coaching as a certified coach for about 9 years. Both one-on-one and in coaching groups. And I have seen what it has done in the life of over 1,000 people that I've had direct relationship in coaching. And it is the most transformative modality that I have ever seen or experienced in my 20 plus years of leadership development, spiritual formation, and people development. I have just not seen anything else that has helped people move from where they are to where they want to be more than coaching. And so we have taken the kind of the best of what I have personally and professionally experienced in leadership development, spiritual formation, and human development. I've taken the top themes of coaching these 1,000 plus people over the last 9 years, and really the best coaching practices and principles. And we've kind of distilled all of that and like kind of in an energy power way, like put it all together into the most condensed form of the 6-month journey. And quite honestly, I'm so proud of it. It is, I think, the best work that I've ever done in 20 plus years of all of this stuff, because I have really worked hard to condense, to consolidate, to really synthesize how it is that women can get from where it is that they want to be. We also are doing coaching groups because when I think about coaching, the two groups of people that have experienced coaching the most have been professional athletes, like, hello, who watched the Super Bowl on Sunday, like, and the Olympics right now. Like, there's so much like in me of, I'm not an athlete at all, but I absolutely love watching people at their peak performances. So we've seen like athletes who have experienced coaching, and then also like basically white men who are in the C-suites throughout corporate America. Those have basically been the two groups of people that have had the most exposure and access to coaching. Women have not been invested in to the same degree as those two groups of people. I have seen it in my entire adult career. I have seen it with people that I have worked with. Like it is an unfair advantage that those two groups of people have had when it comes to coaching. So we do coaching groups for women who want to take their life to the next level. Because we see, and studies and research shows that when women are invested in, the ripple effect and the difference that is made in their families, in their communities, in their cities, and in the world is dramatically impacted. We know that when we learn something or we experience something, it automatically is going to be given away to the people that are closest to us and around us. It's just the way that we work. So we do groups because we know that it both works for women and that there's going to be such an incredible impact beyond the group itself. We do coaching groups as well because transformation happens better together. I've said it a million times. I will probably say it a trillion more times before I die. I believe that transformation happens better when we are in relationship with each other. And part of the reason for that is because transformation can be brutal. I don't know if any of you have decided or made New Year's resolutions on January the 1st. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands here, but if you made a New Year's resolution, there's about an 80% chance that you're not sticking with your New Year's resolution to this day. We're 6 weeks into the year. I was going to say the school year. 6 weeks into the year. Most people have not continued in their New Year's resolutions only 6 weeks into the year. Because changing your habits, your practices, who you are is really difficult work. And most of the time it is not done when you do it alone. And so doing transformational work together is crucial for us to actually get where we want to be. We need each other for solidarity, for encouragement, for pacing, for truth telling. for sometimes the occasional ass kicking, for venting, for processing, right? Like we are exponentially more likely to achieve what matters most to us when we are in relationship with others who want the same for us and who will cheer us on till we get there. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is from Ecclesiastes chapter 9. And it talks about how, two are better than one because you're not alone, right? Like you are with someone who is at your side and is able to walk with you. But three is even better. A cord of three strands is not easily broken. And that's what happens in these coaching groups, is that you are woven together with others. And that is not easily broken when you stand in solidarity and you do the work together for the goal that matters to you, for the work inside of you and outside of you that you want to see flourish and change. So when we do it together, something happens. So that's why we do it in groups. I've coached, again, like hundreds and hundreds, 1,000 people. I've coached a couple of you one-to-one that are on this call right now tonight. But what happens when you get in a relationship or you get in a group with other people, something different happens. There's magic there. Finally, the other reason why we do coaching groups is because I know that as women particularly, we need a proven pathway to get from where we are to where we want to be. There is more inspirational, rah, rock it up stuff that is out there in the world that I could possibly handle. And I love a lot of it. It gets me going. But that doesn't produce change and transformation. And there are 1,000 ideas and resources that are out there that basically feel like you can ping pong your way through idea to resource. And at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily take you from where you are to where you want to be. So we have designed a proven pathway to move you from where you are right now to where it is that you want to be in 6 months. It is both science and it's an art. It is something that is, universal, but it is also customized to what it is that you want to achieve. We need that. We need somebody to take our hand and help guide us to where it is that we want to go. I'll throw in one more little bonus thing here because it's too much to leave out. And that is specifically these last couple of years have been excruciating. They've been relentless, exhausting, uncertain. 2 of the more difficult years of my own life, but also on a corporate level, like for all of us, it has been so difficult. So not just for me individually, right? But the collective weight of that. And so I think that at this point in time and in history, one of the things that I'm most expectant for is what God wants to do in coaching groups together to move us through these last 2 years and into something different, to create a new way forward. So I think that there's something very unique about this time, the time of now. So that is kind of why we have designed coaching groups the way that they are, and why we have set our feet to this being the important work that we are doing. So next question that we want to answer for you tonight is what are these groups all about? Okay, we've got a proven pathway, transformation is better together. We want to be able to move forward, but what are we actually doing in these 6 months groups? I already told you that we have concentrated and distilled kind of what is most important in these transformational work in both your life and leadership. But if I could sum up our coaching groups into one sentence, I would say this. Our coaching groups are designed to get you what matters most in your life and leadership. So whatever it is that you personally are coming to this group, these next 6 months with, we are committed to helping you achieve that. So whatever matters most to you. And we have had the broadest, most diverse kinds of goals and ideas and dreams that have been brought to coaching. It is not limited to one kind of skill set or one type of work. We're not going to just help you lose 20 pounds if that's what you want to do. But if it is, we'll stand in solidarity with you, right? We want for you to get transformational results where it matters most to you. That's how I'd boil it all down. But more specifically, We're all about your wholeness in your life and leadership. You'll hear me say that again, over and over and over again. So we will guide you through the 6 interconnected dimensions of wholeness. And here's what they are. You ready? Physical. We'll do them in this order as well. So month 1, physical. Month 2, emotional. Month 3, dive deep into mental wholeness. Month 4, relational. Month 5, spiritual. And month 6, renewal. Those 6 dimensions of wholeness are interconnected. So in every single month, you will be like, hey, that sounds a little bit like it's connected to this, to mental, or like we're in relational, but you're kind of talking about spiritual here. It's because it's how we've been designed. We're not designed to live compartmentalized, separate lives. We've been created to live this interconnected life. And so we will focus on a specific wholeness dimension every month so that you can wrap your heart and mind around that dimension and really work on some specific practices. Siri just told me she couldn't hear me. So we'll focus on whatever that one of those 6 dimensions are, but it will weave itself into the other dimensions so that you are able to kind of both focus on one thing at a time, but then see how it slices across and is connected to those other dimensions. As you get started, tonight, even if you want to, you can go onto our website and you can begin this coaching group journey by taking our wholeness assessment. This is a proprietary 100+ question assessment that has been designed and reviewed and worked with literally some of the leading experts in the world around assessments and professional or personal development and leadership development. And in our wholeness assessment, it will take you deep into those 6 different dimensions and really help uncover and give you a reality check about what is going on for you currently in each of the 6 dimensions. Then you'll take the results from that and you will define your top goal for the next 6 months. So some women come into like signing up for the coaching group and going like, this is exactly what I want to do for the next 6 months. Others go, I really don't know. Like there's so much, there's like 15 things that I want to do. And I've heard some women that have taken the majority of their 6-month experience to really define and really get to the heart of what it is that they want to achieve. At the end of the day, I don't care. You could be one of those 2 extremes, or you could be somewhere in the middle, because we know that the pathway that we take you on over these next 6 months is going to increase your wholeness, even if you don't have a beautifully articulate, defined goal on day 1. Okay. So we'll leave a little bit of that stress from you. But we also want to like move you toward that if that's something that you are able to do right from the get-go. We have had almost 100 women already take the wholeness assessment over the last year. And the results from like beginning to end have been incredible. So that is really the first step, is for you to take that wholeness assessment and for you to then start defining that top goal that you have for the next 6 months. So quick question, kind of a pop question, as we talked about the wholeness assessment and the 6 different dimensions of wholeness. I'm wondering if in the chat you can project or take a guess of, out of those 6 wholeness dimensions, which 2 do you think are probably the lowest scored out of the almost 100 women that have taken the assessment? Okay. Physical, emotional, mental, relational, spiritual, renewal. If you were to take a guess out of those 6, what do you think the 2 dimensions are that score the lowest from women who have participated? Coaches, if you don't know, you can go ahead and guess, because we haven't talked about the latest results on all of this, but drum roll, please. All right, pop it in. Add it to the chat. Amy says renewal and physical. Diana says mental and renewal. Jocelyn says physical and renewal. Jackie says mental and emotional. All right, any others? Want to guess? Debbie, what do you think? Drop it in. Drop it in the chat. Sandra, would love to hear from you. I'm going to give you the answer. Deneen, I know what you're talking about. Oh, good. Thank you, Lacey. All right. I'm going to spill the beans. And I'm going to remove the chat because I can't focus. For those of you who said physical and renewal, you are correct. Those have been the two that have been the lowest. You're cheering, but I don't know if that's to be cheered or not. Yeah, those have been the two lowest. I'm fascinated to see what your scores will be after you take the wholeness assessment. But what seriously has been incredible is, physical is month 1, renewal is month 6. That is intentional, and it's by design that we begin and we end with the 2 dimensions that we tend to struggle with as a whole gender more than the other 2. But the results from month 1 to month 6 for women, those 2 categories significantly increase in our coaching groups. What we do really works because it weaves through all of it. So again, I'm so excited to see your results. As soon as you take it, you will get an email from us, and your coach will also receive your results, and we will guide you through kind of what that next step of the process looks like. So that's where you will begin, starting now. And then once we begin in March, each week of your 6 months, we will guide you through the journey. We will guide you into achieving your transformational goal. So every month we'll carry the same rhythm. Week 1, every single participant who signs up for a coaching group will join me and all of the coaches for a 90-minute live participant coaching group session. So I will lead that month or that week for 90 minutes, and it will be a content coaching training intensive experience. All right. You will get to do some sharing like you do on the chat here, but there's not a lot of interaction as we go through that first 90-minute block. I want to set you up for the whole month of what wholeness looks like in that dimension. Okay. So week 1 is at 90 minutes live, all participants, all coaches together for that space. That is going to be on Tuesdays, first Tuesday of the month, from 10 to 11:30 Pacific time. So you can do the translations in whatever time zone you live in. We literally have women from all across the country that are participating. So everybody has to flex a little bit because time zones are terrible. We do record every single thing that we also do. So if something comes up, or if you are unable for any reason to be there live, you still have access to everything. But the live component makes it so much richer. So do everything you can in order to be there with us live. Week 2 of every month, there are 2 things that happen. First thing is that there is a book every single month that we read together. And each book has been very specifically, intentionally, deliberately chosen to both expand your imagination and to deepen your heart in understanding more about that dimension. I'll say this, there will be things that you disagree with in every single book, and that's totally good. We want you to. We want you to wrestle and resist and struggle and wonder if this aligns with what you already believe to be true. We want to expand. We want to kind of shake things up so that you can look at your wholeness from maybe a perspective that you have not before. So that week 2, there is going to be discussion on our online community around that book of the month so that you can really dig deeper with each other and articulate for yourself what is going on for you as you learn about that wholeness dimension through that book. Second thing that will happen in week 2 is that you will contribute online to the physical or the wholeness pro steps kind of overview and recommendations. So we have created a document, a PDF for every single wholeness dimension that really walks you through both what we have learned through the wholeness assessments for every woman that's participated, some universal recommendations of how it is that you can increase wholeness if that is an area that you're struggling in currently, and also some specific recommendations from other women like you in our community that have said, you know what, here's how I increase my physical wholeness. And I'll tell you what, I have learned so much, and it's really broadened my own perspective and like helped me to kind of do some things that are different before, that are outside of just what it is that I have done previously. So that wholeness pro tip guide is really valuable every single month to, again, both take you deeper and to give you creative ideas as to how you can increase wholeness in that specific dimension every month. So as you can see, week 2, it is completely asynchronous. You participate when it works out for you in your own schedule. There is nothing live that you have to participate in. Week 3, there is also a 90-minute live coaching group session that is the smaller coaching group. So Stephanie, for example, has the women that are going to be in her coaching group. She will meet with them for 90 minutes exclusively on week 3. We have encouraged or selected that Tuesdays from 10 to 11:30 Pacific time is the time frame for week 3. However, each coach and the group has the prerogative to change that day and time if it works for them. So that is not locked in. You guys are able to change that up, but you will be meeting at the same day and time every single month for that week 3. Then let me say one more thing about week 3. Week 3, when you are meeting with your coach in that smaller live session, that is where you will really dig in and be interactive with the other women that are in your coaching group. So there is vulnerability, there is sharing, there is processing. There is not much content. It is much more of a process and of action steps that are taken that you will determine with your group. So that is week 3. Week 4, there is a live Q&A with me. It's the last Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that is an hour that is for coaching group participants. We also make that available for the larger Warrior Women community that you will be a part of. And really, it's a space for you to ask any questions that you've got about that wholeness dimension, or something that has come up for you in that month, or a specific coaching question, or maybe you've had a disagreement with your coach, or something you want a different perspective on from another coach. That hour is really for you to dig in one last time to that wholeness dimension and really get any questions that are answered. So super valuable time. I am not doing a ton of one-to-one coaching these days because most of my time and energy is spent in building this out for our larger community. So, I mean, consider me, your coach part 2 for the primary coach that you've got in this group, and take advantage of the expertise and of the training that I can bring in that time. So that is the 4 weeks that we have together. You might have noticed I have not mentioned yet your one-to-one coaching call. That may be worth its weight in your monthly investment in and of itself. Each of these coaches could charge the amount of money that you're paying for the whole month of coaching just for that one session. So you will get one-to-one session with your coach every single month. You will determine that with them every month. And hopefully you can choose about the same time to keep it on a regular rhythm so that you have, a month between those one-to-one calls. So you choose that time when it works for you and when it works for your coach. And I mean, that is where like the true personalization and really customization of our coaching groups plays itself out. There's a lot more, particularly within our Warrior Women community, that you will get as a part of this coaching group experience. But those are kind of the highlights and the things that are most significant in terms of what you are going to commit to every single week. Time-wise, some people are wondering, like, how much time is this really going to take? Like, April, that sounds like a whole lot. It's really not. It's about 7 to 10 hours per month. Or if you want to break it down even more, it's maybe 2 to 3 hours per week, depending on the week, right? So I think Jocelyn had said yesterday in a post something like, there are 168 hours in a given week. You can give yourself 2 to 3 hours per week to invest in yourself in a way that is different than how you've invested before. You will actually probably just shift your engagements and your practices and the things that you're already doing, and you will move them in a different direction. So we're not asking you to add to your life. We're asking for you to shift some things in your life so that you can invest well. Because again, we're about wholeness. We're not asking you to stop sleeping. We want for you to increase your wholeness. So that is kind of what the time commitment looks like and how much you will invest into yourself over the next 6 months. All right, next question. Actually, final question. Who is this for? I said in the email and I said on our Instagram live or whatever earlier, that really honestly, our coaching groups are not for everyone. First of all, they're not for men. They're not invited. It is just for you, just for the ladies. But it's also, I want to frame about who it's for positively, not around the negative, because it's not for everyone, but you will see who it is not for as I talk about who it is for. First, it is for women who want to create a shift in the trajectory of their life. So let me use this example, this metaphor. I live in Southern California, Orange County to be specific. I avoid LAX like the plague as much as humanly possible, but occasionally I have to fly out of LAX in order to get to someplace. Particularly if I'm flying international, I will go to LAX. But if you were on a plane from LAX and say I was going to visit Heather Henderson in DC, if I was the pilot of that plane and I changed the trajectory of those coordinates by 3.5 degrees, so just a mere shifting 86 inches of the nose of that plane from the takeoff of LAX, I would not land in Washington, DC at the end of that 6.5-hour flight. I would land in a completely different destination. I would probably land somewhere around New York City, which is not a bad alternative, but nevertheless, it's not the place that I was intending to go. So our coaching groups are for women who are deliberate and who desire a shift in their trajectory. When they look at their life and they go 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, shoot, even a year down the road, I don't want to be in the same place that I am now. Or I don't want to continue down this pathway. Our coaching groups are for those women. Our coaching groups are also for women who are more committed to finding a way than finding an excuse. One of the realities about coaching is that it will push you. It will ask you to do things that you have not done before so that you can get a different result, which means that you have to be willing to find a way through ceilings, through walls, through barriers. And your commitment is more to finding a way through those things or around those things or over those things than finding an excuse of why you can't. Can't is not a word that we like to use in coaching very much, because we really believe that where God has put something within you, that there is a way to make that happen. There is a way to fulfill that. And so if you are committed to finding a way more than you are finding an excuse, our groups are for you. Last, I would say our coaching groups are for women who are willing and open to do the work. They are women who are more compelled by what is possible and by who it is that they are supposed to become than they are worried about like just staying where they are at right now. So if you're willing to do the work, our groups are for you. Tracy Beeson is another one of our coaches. And about 1.5 years, maybe 2.5 years ago now, she said something to me that I've never forgotten. She said, I asked her how she was doing one day on a phone call. And she said, well, I'm doing okay. She's like, stuff is really hard right now, but I'm doing the work. And then she goes, you know what? You do the work, whether or not you want to do the work. Either you do the work toward becoming more whole, becoming the person that God has created you to be, fulfilling the desires and the potential that God has placed within you, or you do the work to play small and to hide and to validate your excuses and to live in the pain of the past. And you do the work of pleasing everyone else around you over God and what it is that God has given to you. We do the work one way or the other. So our coaching groups are for women who are willing to do the work that will move them into wholeness and into the fullness of who God has created them to be. So my guess is that really, even because you're here or you're listening in at a later time, that our groups are actually for you because there's already been something within you that has said like, this is different, or this is something that I want that I don't already have. And so my encouragement for you would be to trust that, to listen to that. to pay attention to like what is bubbling up inside of you. Because if something in you is saying, go for it, let's do it, let's figure this out, listen to that voice. A lot of times as women, we are taught to not listen to that voice, to discount it or to deny it or to downplay it. My encouragement would be to trust it, to trust that that might be a prompt from the spirit, that might be an invitation from within that is calling you toward something more than what you are currently experiencing in your life and your leadership right now. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't even have to feel ready. Readiness is not the issue. You have to simply be open and willing that this is for you and this is your time. And my promise to you is that me and our coaches, we are going to stand with you in solidarity, and we are going to help you in whatever way we can to achieve that thing that matters most to you. So with all of that said, I wanted to answer the why we do coaching groups, what are they all about, and who is this for and not. But I want to take a breath and take a sip of my LaCroix and answer any questions that may have come in, or if you want to unmute yourself and just go ahead and ask it live, I love that too. So Steph, any questions?
So far, I have one from Debbie, and it says, does this course cover the Enneagram?
Oh, great question, Debbie. Yes and no. So we do ask in the pre-work or invite you to take an Enneagram assessment. We love the Enneagram because it's not simply a personality test. It helps you to really go after what your core motivations are and fears and that kind of stuff. So our coaches are all well-versed in the Enneagram, and we use that as kind of like an undergirding for the next 6 months, but we are not doing specific training on the Enneagram. If that is something that you want, that you haven't had yet, we do have a workshop that you could sign up for, and you could still do like a 2-hour workshop on the Enneagram to kind of get more familiar with what it looks like for you. So yeah, we use it as a frame, we use it as a tool, but we don't use it explicitly in the 6-month journey. Does that answer your question? Awesome. Great. Any other questions that you want to unmute yourself to ask? Nothing?
I feel like everyone just needs to unmute and at least say hi.
Stephanie is a 7, Debbie. If you are familiar with the Enneagram, Stephanie is a hardcore 7.
Oh, it's been so quiet, and I want to hear from each of you.
Are you tired of my voice?
I mean, I do love your voice. I told her she reminds me of Brene Brown a little bit, like the cadence of her voice when I listen to her audiobooks. But anyway.
Thank you. She's our patron saint. You'll hear a lot from Brene Brown in the next 6 months too.
I want to hear Debbie. I'm putting you on the spot. We call this the hot seat at my church. Debbie's on the hot seat, the hot seat, the hot seat. Debbie's on the hot seat.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. I'm here. I am really excited about doing this. I have done different groups in the past, but to be with other women where I can have all of these things being well-rounded. I love how this covers the physical, the emotional, the mental, to try and find balance. Because sometimes it's easy to get, off the, I get unbalanced, and I've got family that we all are busy, but it's finding time for me and for what I need to do to take it to the next level and get healthy in a lot of areas. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to Stephanie. She was great to help answer my questions. So thank you.
So great to have you, Debbie. We're stoked that you're a part of this.
Thank you.
Stephanie wants me to share as well. I think it's
she's like texting you underneath the screen.
She's like,
come on, Jackie.
I'm just excited to be here, just to grow and go to the next level. I work with a lot of women already, but I think it needs to be fine-tuned. I need to fine-tune myself because, I need to be where I need to be to help the next person get to where they need to be. And so iron sharpens iron. So I was very, very happy when I was finally able to do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited. And I will have to leave in 6 minutes because I have a table talk, but I'm happy to be here.
Well, good things come to those who wait, Jackie. You have waited for quite some time. So timing is everything. And now is your time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to actually wrap up in 6 minutes anyway. So even though Stephanie wants to hear all of your voices, I'm going to officially wrap us up in 6 minutes and we can hang out for a few more unofficially if you all want to stick around. But I want to share a couple of women's stories with you, some words that they have written around why they said yes, because I think that you will find yourself in their stories because we're all connected, right? So Laura M was a part of a coaching group with me. Actually, she was in Stephanie's coaching group probably 4 years ago or more. I don't remember. It's been a while. Hot second. So Laura, or LJ as she is called, said, ever lift your head up from your job, family, daily grind and thought, whoa, where did the last X amount of years go? For me, it was the last 6 years of my job. I can confidently say I love my job. It's the most challenging position. It's required the most of me of anything I've done in my life. When I started the pre-work for the coaching group, let's just say I didn't know what I didn't know. Because of my tendency to go all in with whatever I do, I didn't realize I was losing a part of myself over these last 6 years. Through the group's discussions, sessions, book readings, one-to-one coaching, I discovered a level of my true self that I have not nurtured. There's a lot of work to be done, but this group has lit a path and given me the tools on this redemptive journey. And guess what? I know where it leads, a journey to abundant and a fully engaged life that God invites us into, a life where I can fully be loved, accepted, and known. Are you feeling that nudge? Say yes and amen. Sign up for the next coaching group with Ezer Co. You will not regret it. And then a woman I was actually just hanging out with this weekend, she lives in Ohio, but she was out here in California for the Super Bowl, watching it from the streets. My friend Tammy, and Tammy G said, because of this group, I have gone further, faster in this season in areas where I have been stuck. It's been really fun because she's actually been finished with her coaching group for a year and a half. We started in January of 2020. So right before the pandemic struck, we started this journey together, and then everything got totally upended and discombobulated and jacked up. And when we were having lunch together on Saturday, she said, I am physically in a place that I haven't been in before because our coaching group set me on a trajectory that I am still on today, a year and a half later. So I just know that what we do works, and that the process and the sisterhood is so incredibly valuable. So that is what they got from the experience, but I want to focus our last couple of minutes on you. I want to celebrate the fact that you are here. I want to celebrate the fact that that you said yes to even being here tonight, to being a part of this conversation, to explore what could be possible for you through this coaching group experience. And I want to call you back to the beginning of our time together, where you sat with your hand on your hearts and your hand on your belly, and you centered in on what's not working for you. And then when you imagine what could be possible in 6 months, particularly if you live with discipline and focus in these next 6 months. So I want to celebrate the fact that there is the imagination, there is the desire, there is something within you that God has placed that is more than where you are at right now and what you have right now. So I want to celebrate you in all of that, in the wholeness of your story and in whatever God has got for you next. You have come this far and God's not finished with you yet. So we are hoping and praying that you say yes, not just to us or not just to this group, but that you say yes to yourself and you say yes to what is next for you in your life and in your leadership. Really, this launch party is not about telling you the nuts and bolts, but really celebrating women like you and knowing the potential that has been placed within half of our planets and women like you who, when they invest in themselves, the ripple effect, the exponential effect and impact will bring more of heaven on earth. And that's what we're all about. So I want to celebrate that in you. I want to celebrate even a little bit now, what will happen in the next 6 months as you say yes to yourself and to the women that you will journey with. Some of these women on this call tonight, you will get to know in ways that will blow your mind, and they may become sisters for life. So with the last 60 seconds, I'm going to invite you to take one of 3 action steps. Okay. So whether or not you have already signed up, I'm going to give you these 3 action steps. One is if you have not registered and you're okay, it's time. I've been sitting around long enough, register now. You can go to our website. We'll drop it in the chat. Maybe if somebody can do that. I don't know. And we are offering 25% off of our coaching groups through Friday at midnight. So you've got a couple more days to really activate on that. You just click that register button. It's super simple process and you will be on your way. One of the things that I believe to be true is when you click register, your next transformational journey begins at that moment, because you have kind of put a stake in the ground and you have said, like, I am shifting my purpose here and I'm going to move forward. Option 2 for your next adventure is for you to schedule an activation coaching call. Our whole team is available to have a 30-minute call with you to really explore, like, is this the right thing for me? So maybe you just need that one-to-one connection to really process if this is the right thing for you right now. So schedule that activation call. Or the third is you can join our membership community right now. And again, we can drop that in the chat in a second. Our Warrior Women membership community is where all of this is going to happen. So whether or not you're a part of a coaching group, you can still be a part of that Warrior Women community. And we are investing a lot into that space in order to increase your wholeness there. So it will be for your coaching group, and it's a good way to get started right now. You'll be invited into your coaching group very soon. But in the larger Warrior Women community, you can kind of get a head start and really begin that work. So those are your 3 next step options: register for a group, schedule an activation call, or join the membership community. We are over. We're just a little bit over time. I couldn't quite get it all done, but I am so grateful that you're here tonight. Thank you for saying yes. And again, our commitment is to really walk with you for these next 6 months. So whatever that looks like, we will do it. All right. Much love to you all. Stick around if you've got any questions or if you want to do an actual chat with me and stuff. We will be here, but thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you spent the evening with us. Looking forward to your next action step.